Crazy, crazy, crazy. We've started a new series. It is At the Movies. It's one of my favorite series. I think this is the 8th year we've done it. Took a couple years off during COVID, I believe. But it's awesome. For me, I love that the greatest story ever told is told in every story ever told. And you see Jesus just creeping out in all of the stories that we find that we love in the movies. It makes it really hard. I want to do all action movies, and because I think Jesus would have been an action star, but it's fun to do the series. It's hard to do the series. Like this, my notebook, I'll timestamp everything through the movie. Everything they say, I'll be writing down the script and putting the timestamp where it is so we can cut stuff later to get the clips we want and to know where to go for it. But I try and write the sermon first before pulling the clips so that the movie doesn't drive the sermon, but the sermon drives the movie. And because you can get so caught up preaching a movie, you forget the gospel if you don't realize of what the purpose of it. So I have a lot of fun writing it and pulling it out. This one was a great movie. We did Project Hail Mary. It was a great show. I loved it. I love the family aspect of it. I love the humor of it. I love the fact that, spoiler alert, he gets shanghaied. And for me, it was just a great movie that told a great story. And the more I started looking as I watched the movie, I started, what's the biblical parallels? Because they're all over. There's so many different ways you could preach that movie. But what came just crying out to me, screaming out to me, was this was the story of Esther. That here you've got this guy who has a chance to save the world.
I feel like Esther was a little more willing.
I don't know if she was at first all the way. Pray real hard for me, but I think the concept that I actually pulled through the last two now is that God uses ordinary people to do extraordinary things. And we often look at the heroes of the Bible and we think that they are super people, that there's no way I could be one of them, that they're just holy, they're awesome, they're just machines.
Yeah, Moses.
Yeah. And you look at their real life. Moses wasn't.
Right.
Moses was the most what's the word?
Well, I mean, he was a prince of Egypt, right?
At least in the movie.
Wow, yeah. The one I care about. Yeah.
But he was self-conscious. That's the word.
Did someone say he had a stutter?
That's his voice. He said it. He said, but God, I don't speak well. And that's probably terrible to do on our show, isn't it? I'm going to get dinged by somebody.
You know.
But he didn't. He said, I'm not eloquent of speech. I can't put the words together. Don't make me do this. And God's like, really? I don't need you.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you all you need. And God actually said, you're going to miss out on it now because I'm going to speak through Aaron. I'll tell you what to say, and you tell it to him, and he's going to say it, and you're going to miss that blessing. That's what I think it often does when we don't. I guess when we're like the guy on Project Hail Mary and we don't want to go, we may still get shanghaied, but it's not the same reward as we would have gotten as doing it the right way. And it was so funny because you think of Moses, you think of David. David was a man after God's own heart.
Yeah, we can.
David was a man after God's own heart, but he was also struggling. He was a horrible dad. Probably he did not get Father of the Year. He wasn't disciplined. He wasn't taking care of his kids. wasn't observing what was going on. He wasn't a great husband. Cheated on his wife. Cheated on wasn't a good buddy. When you think of
took the guy's wife, killed him.
Yeah. What's his name?
Hey, oh no.
Yeah.
My name went blank.
Uriah
the Hittite. Uriah, the fact that he's living next door, David mentions Uriah as one of his mighty men. And I always thought that he added him to his mighty men because of what he did to him meant the most in his life, of somebody who impacted his life the most.
Yeah.
But it's not true. For him to be living in that place right next door to David's room, he was one of his elite guards.
Yeah.
He was one of his closest crew. And he did that to a guy he loves. David was a dirtbag.
Yeah.
But even with that, he became a man after God's own heart. And because repentance, that's the difference between David and Saul, is repentance. Saul didn't do half as bad as David did, and he lost the kingdom and lost everything. The problem was when David messed up and gets called on it, it cuts him to the quick. He cries out to God, asks God to forgive him, and tries to change. Saul, when he gets called out, says, hey, will you not let me even look at it in front of the people? Just don't do this in front of them. Let's deal with it later privately. Instead of being repentant and tore up. But you see with Moses, with Joshua, with Noah. Everybody thinks, well, Noah was perfect. That's why God chose him. No, the Lord made Noah righteous. Noah didn't have his own righteousness. God did it. And that's all God has to work with is fouled up people. And it was funny after I got done writing was it this one or next week? No, it's this one. When I got done writing the sermon, we were watching other movies and just storyboarding them out to see what would work for a sermon or not. And I started watching old war movies. And I found The Gallant Hours with James Cagney. And never had seen it. He's playing Admiral, what's his name? Halsey, Admiral Halsey, he's the one who led the Guadalcanal. He led pretty much all the Theater of the Pacific, all those battles and everything that we did there. He was the guy who was in charge of it. And he gave the greatest quote, and I shared it because it summed up my sermon. And I'm going, as soon as we're watching that movie, I wasn't writing anything else down. I stopped the movie, took out my notebook, Admiral Halsey, and I had to look it up later to get exactly right. He says, there aren't any great men. There are just great challenges that ordinary men like you and me are forced by circumstances to meet. And that was so huge.
Yeah.
Because David wasn't a great man. Moses wasn't a great man. Joshua wasn't a great man. They were just an ordinary, normal people, messes and all, that God used in extreme circumstances because somebody had to.
Well, and throughout the Bible, I mean, jump right to the disciples.
Yeah.
Like straight up, that's like such a perfect example.
Tax collector, fisherman.
Tax collector is better explained
Hitman.
as a mafia extortion guy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no one was really tracking. Hey, I collected taxes, government. I promise. I'm not gonna tell how many pennies I kept, but
No, that's not how it worked.
they
They endorsed it. Oh, they said,
as long as you get ours, I don't care
that's
what
what
you
they
do.
said. You have to get this amount for us, and whatever else you take on top of that's up to you. We don't care, but we'll let you use our soldiers to get it. So that's why tax collectors were hated so much.
Yeah,
they weren't just taking money for Rome; they were dipping in the till themselves, and they had to pay them this extortion money. That's why they hated Matthew.
Lovely group of people.
Yeah.
But that's so interesting though, because like, no matter what, that is obviously not a great man that anyone would be like, those are the people we want to be. I mean, maybe some people, but not good people. So it's just cool to see throughout the Bible this same block of text of not a great person, a person that people would typically frown upon being used to do amazing things. David's a guy I struggled with, like trying to understand, like, why in the world
Would you choose him?
David, like, this guy's a scumbag. Like, and I'm like, oh, David, a man after God's own heart. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are we talking about the same David in this book? And then it's that realization of God taking these like broken people and like, look at the grace that I provide. Look at that mercy that I provide. Look at the things that I can transform this dead garden into. And I'm like, man, that's cool.
And I think that was the big thing the Pharisees didn't get.
Yeah.
Because everyone hated the tax collectors. It wasn't just because they were Pharisees they didn't like them. They were dirtbags.
Yeah.
What the Pharisees didn't get, because when Jesus had lunch with all of Matthew's friends and the prostitutes and everyone else, those sinners, they had, how can he eat with those people? They were stupid and bigots, but they had just cause to hate these people or to not like these people, not to want to be around these people because they were so vile. But the problem is they didn't realize they were just as vile, and that we all have to receive God's grace, that we all have second chances. We all have the ability to move into this new future. David was a man after God's own heart's a New Testament quote, not old.
Yeah.
Because you're thinking, well, maybe that was a halfway point. Somebody said that.
Yeah.
But surely not the later days.
No, and it's interesting because I think about that, the Pharisees looking at Jesus. Jesus was tending the garden. Yeah. He was nurturing it and putting that time and effort in to let people feel that love that only God can provide. You know, the Pharisees didn't want anything to do with it because they had automatically painted this whole bucket as bad.
Yeah.
But Jesus was tending the garden at that point in time, and that's such a cool image.
And their goal was to be holy. Their goal was to be pure.
Yeah.
But when they realized they couldn't do it, instead of seeking a solution, they sought to twist and look for loopholes and change the law to make them fit it, but nobody else.
Yeah.
It's like when the tax collector was giving his offering. Jesus used the illustration that Pharisees giving his offering and tax collectors giving an offering, and the Pharisee says, God, I'm so glad I'm not like this heathen next to me, this tax collector. I give of all of my mint and all of my all give. Look at me, honk my horn all day long. And then he says the tax collector wouldn't even look up to heaven, but beat his breast and said, God, have mercy on me, a sinner. And Jesus said, he's the one.
Yeah.
That guy gets it.
Well, I think a lot of it is people wanting to perpetuate the current culture instead of transforming it into what God's called us to, show and become and live.
And then there's the like thinking that you can do something good enough and perfect enough and holy enough to break the sin that is like planted at this point in time. Like we can't outdo the sin that's there. We have to have Jesus there to break that mold. And for all these people, these Pharisees to say, oh, we can do all these amazing things and that makes us better than the tax collectors. Wrong.
Yeah.
And it still happens today, though.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
There are entire denominations built on the fact that we can set these rules just the way we can make them, and it's not the sins we must deal with. Those other people are dirtbags. God hates them, but our sins aren't as bad because they're just little ones. And you'll find that culture can drive some churches to become sinful. Church culture can drive other churches to become sinful. Both sides doing this whole pendulum swing of one side. I still can't come out this far on this argument. I want to go and rage out, but hey, it went.
Look at you.
I wanted to forget what I was talking about.
Culture.
We have these two sides. One says we can't have anything to do with the culture because the culture's evil.
Yeah.
One side says we have to embrace the culture because that's the only way we'll be heard and be relevant. But we're willing to compromise to be like the culture, and we don't want anything to do with the culture. They forget that Jesus hung out right here.
Yeah.
Jesus said, I'm in the culture. I'm not going to let the culture transform me. I'm not going to let it change me. I love when it says, do not be conformed by the world, but be transformed by the renewing of the Spirit. The conformed is the word used for Play-Doh being shoved into a mold, and you stick it in there and it comes out looking like it. That's what a lot of people do. A lot of Christians do. A lot of churches do. We try and fit the mold thinking that'll make us relevant to the people around us.
Yeah.
He said, I want you to be transformed. It's that chemical change that when you add, I'm not going to go through a lot of different chemicals we can add to change stuff because we'll get kicked off YouTube. But when a chemical change happens, you can never unchange it. It stays that way. You can't separate it again. He says, I want you to be changed. I don't want you to just take a mold for a little while and be shaped into whatever the common mold is of the day.
Yeah.
I want you to be changed because I didn't grow up in church, and I saw all these hypocritical Christians playing whatever mold of the day was, and some of them wanting to fit our mold. And I'm going, hey, I thought you're supposed to be different.
Yeah.
I thought you're legit. And Christianity isn't about filling a mold, it's being transformed. And even realizing that we can be in the culture and not of the culture. We can be relevant to our culture. We don't have to be this pendulum over here that they're evil and wrong. We can. Jesus hung out with the culture. That's what we were just talking about. The Pharisees didn't get that he was hanging out with tax collectors and sinners. It didn't say he was snorting coke with them in the mirror.
Yeah.
Is that going to get a sting too?
No, I love. I don't know. That is the stuff that I think people want to. Those are conversations to have.
It is. I think Jesus was real and dealt with real people. Never compromised himself.
He didn't say, "Hey, could you show me how to collect taxes?"
I think
For the
we're back to
record, we
Coke.
don't think he freebased.
No, we don't. No, but the whole point is Jesus was able to sit in a room of people doing terrible things,
Yeah.
love them, never was like, that's a good thing. I'm here to show you a better way. That's
it.
It's the whole the Sumerian woman. He offered her water that would quench your thirst forever. And that was what he was offering to those people in the room. He wasn't offering the cocaine that would last forever. I don't know. We probably can't keep using this reference, but it's a darn good reference because Jesus is bigger than all of those things. And, if we're talking about being an addict or an alcoholic or any of those types of things, Jesus is here to say, cool, I understand that you're doing this. I'm taking you out of it.
It's killing you.
It's
I want
killing
to set
you.
you
I'm
free.
taking you out of it. And the Pharisees saw that and they're like, those people, the only way they can do is they just have to suffer in penance and they have to walk out on their own. And if they could have walked out on their own, they would have done it a long time ago.
That's why I love Romans equates it to slavery.
Yeah.
That you choose who you're going to be a slave of, but you're a slave to something.
Yeah.
And when you're hooked, when you're in it, and it doesn't even have to be Coke. It can be porn. Porn is just as much
Yeah.
Money.
drag as Coke. And people get just as addicted to the dopamine push. It's all chemical.
It's chemical addictions.
And it drives you, and you have to get freed of it. That's why sin equates to slavery, because if somebody doesn't free you from it, it's going to own you forever and kill you. He's offering them something better. He goes in their midst, loves on them where they are, and they're leaving changed. Like he told the woman taking adultery, caught in the act, hey, go and sin no more. Not saying you're never going to sin again, but hey, this is killing you. This almost just got you killed. I wouldn't do this one.
Yeah.
A line too far.
The woman at the well.
Yep.
She went and told everyone in the city, hey, this is the guy who told me everything I'd ever done.
All those things that you guys judge me about, that guy knew it too, and he's not from around here.
Yeah, he shouldn't have known it. You guys all watched it. He knew it.
Yeah.
But he offered me something different. He offered me something different. So
He forgave me. He forgave me. And
that's where I think people miss it. So the movie Project Hail Mary, I can't remember what his name is. I'm so many movies into my preparation.
oh man, I should know this.
Ryan Gosling is the one who played the part.
Oh my gosh, I can't think of his name.
Ryland Grace.
Grace. That's why his name Grace was all about what he's about. Ryland Grace.
No, Grace
Ryland.
Ryland.
You can just call him Grace.
Dr. Ryland. Grace.
His last name's Grace.
First name's Grace.
I don't care what I wrote. I remember what I saw.
The alien calls him Grace the whole time.
Yes, by his last name. Kind of like a football thing.
Sure.
They call you
Whatever.
Brown.
I don't think
Whatever.
it's that big of a...
I think the alien
a
played
point.
ball. He knew what it was like.
Yeah.
He was just down.
Okay.
The handsome fella. We can just call him the handsome fella.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone's first name is Ryland, but whatever. Go ahead.
I don't know a guy named Grace either.
I don't know an alien named Rocky either.
Yeah.
I know, but everybody thought I was doing because I put little quiz teasers out there for the movies because you're not allowed to put what they are. It violates copyright and what they allow us to do for the series. But I put out there, if this were a football movie, it would be a long shot. And all of them are going, oh, you're showing the longest yard. I said, if it had been a football movie, not it was. I was going to do a Rocky quote or The Rock, but I knew then they would all get it wrong for The Rock. But he's a guy who's an ordinary guy. He says, I'm an 8th grade science teacher.
Yeah.
And
I hate that you're right about his name.
Quit.
So dumb.
I don't care what was in my notes. I know what his name was. But he's a normal guy, 8th grade science teacher. They come to corral him, the CIA, whoever comes in their black little...
Bigger than that.
They said, we want you. He's like, I'm nobody. You can't want me.
Yeah.
There's nothing I have to offer. Well, didn't you write this paper? Yeah, but everyone else told me I was wrong. And how often when God decides to use us or tries to use us, everyone else has already crushed our spirit, crushed our self-esteem, crushed our ego, and we live in the shame of our sin and the shame of everything we've done, and we're thinking, you know what, God could never use me.
I think that feels like part of especially in this day and age, and it's easy to say that's probably been that way for forever. That's just like the common thing for society. Beat everyone up, push everyone into a mold, and if you're not following along, then you're ostracized, and then now you don't even have a voice to speak up on. That's just like, that's how culture seems to tick over and over again, is beat everyone if they're not following the every trend that's going on.
Yeah, and there's so many movies I could have used for this, because even though I'm using Esther's story, which is a beautiful story, I could have used Joshua's, because with both of them, God's moving people, circumstances, places, people.
Yeah.
He's playing chess while the devil's playing checkers.
Yeah. Well, I think your sermon title, For Such a Time as This, really hits the nail on the head. It's like God puts you in this exact time and place for this purpose.
And following the book, the movie, like, he was the perfect person for that situation. He was someone who could think out of a box, who could work through tough situations, who wasn't afraid to tackle things. And as a teacher of like young students, he was able to think in a way to approach those problems that no one else would have been able to. And yeah, I did think it was a really perfect setup, because no one else, even though he thought he was a useless turd, he was the perfect fit to go and save the world.
Well, the reason he got banned from, not scholardom, he got banned from academia, was because he didn't drink the Kool-Aid. He wasn't going to go along with everybody, because there's so many lemmings out there that'll just agree with anybody instead of researching themselves or saying, listen, I just disagree with that. And as he's sitting there disagreeing, he gets blackballed for it. But it's the very thing he disagreed that was what they found is true. That's why they needed him. Just like Esther. Esther was a Jewess. They had been taken in captivity by Nebuchadnezzar some 61 years earlier. And Xerxes, the Medo-Persian Empire, had taken Babylon and took all their captives with them. And now you've got this young girl named Esther, who gets thrown into a place because of circumstances.
Yeah.
When Queen Vashti, Xerxes wasn't a great guy either. He was having a party and everybody's just lit. And he says, hey, have Vashti come dance for us. Well, that's a very Christianized translation of what he was wanting to happen.
Yeah.
Hey, come show off for all my guys, see how good I got it. And she said, no. And all those guys said, you can't let her say no, because then all of our wives and our women will tell us no, and it'll ruin the whole kingdom. So you need to pass a law to have her banished. And so I don't know if he is just drunk or not thinking or just mad because she embarrassed him in front of all of his friends. So he says, fine, let's do it. But in the Medo-Persian Empire, the only thing that could not be taken back was a written law by the emperor, by the king. So when Xerxes wrote it into law that she is to be banished, he comes to his senses later, the next day or two later, and he's going, hey, wow, I kind of miss Vashti. Let's bring her back. And I said, nay, you can't. You wrote this. She's gone. But we'll get you another girl. So they had a big talent show, beauty pageant for all the girls in the kingdom, and they found all the good-looking ones, and they grabbed them, threw them into the harem, and said, you're going to go audition for the king. If he likes you, you'll become queen. Well, it just so happens that Esther, whose parents, talk about life circumstances not prepping you for where you're going, her parents had died. They'd been taken captivity. We don't know if they died at the beginning of captivity or died during captivity. But her cousin, her dad, her cousin, Mordecai, her dad was his uncle, took her in and was raising her as his own. And it comes time for them to take him. He tells her, listen, don't tell anybody you're a Jewess, because anti-Semitism is huge here, and they'll do you wrong. And so she goes and finds the head of the harem. I think it was his name, Hiram. Haggai. That's Habakkuk. Haggai, that's his name. Haggai, she finds favor in his eyes. That's only God.
Yeah.
And he says, hey, here's all the good stuff for you. I'm going to take... Now, just for our ladies, who, especially if you get upset with your wife if she takes too long to get ready for somewhere that you're going, they had to take 12 months of beauty treatment before they could go see the king. I don't know what they're giving them, but that's some slow acting stuff. And finally, it comes her turn, and he told her, hey, here's what you should do and not do. He's coaching her. Here's what the king likes and he doesn't like. You don't need all this stuff all these girls are doing and all this stuff. You just be you. And she goes in. He loves her. Says, hey, girl, you want to be not be my guy. That'd be totally wrong. You want to be my queen. And
Girl.
You want to be my girl? That works.
most people
You want to
say.
be my girl? And she says,
Do you want to be?
I don't know if that's what she said, but yes, she said yes.
Great. We just got copyright.
Having like Sunday.
And I'm guessing because I think Xerxes was a name that was used by a lot of leaders. This isn't the same Xerxes from like 300.
Yes.
Okay. Because I know that name ended up getting used a fair amount by those leaders.
We have Xerxes the first and Xerxes the second. In Hebrew, you'll find in your Bible, sometimes they'll translate it as Ahasuerus.
Oh, no, I see it and I can't read it just like you were saying. And I just now see that name and automatically think Xerxes. So
It's him.
yeah.
Ahasuerus is the Hebrew transliteration of Xerxes.
Transliteration. Such a fun word.
Yeah.
I love that word. So that's cool. Yeah, that's wild knowing that like this like honestly war chief of a leader is being like shaped and affected by God.
And if you're talking about coincidences as God's putting stuff together, on down the line, if you remember a guy named Nehemiah, who happens to be cupbearer to the king,
Yeah.
one of the same kings, sets and pays for everybody to have their stuff taken care of to rebuild the wall in Jerusalem. Why do you think he cares about a bunch of Jews? Esther. So God put her in the right place at the right time. Spoiler alert, there's going to be a dude named Haman who wants to kill the Jews because of Mordecai, because he hated Mordecai, because Mordecai wouldn't kiss up to him.
Yeah, like I'm walking in the door and that one guy
Yeah.
is like, I'm mad at you now. I'm like, dude, calm down.
Yeah.
Like, just go in. Like, you're about to go have a feast. Chill out. That dude can do whatever he wants.
His
Like,
life's getting really great, and he's having all this, but he couldn't get over this one guy who wouldn't bow down to me. It gets in his craw. So he gets the king to sign an edict. He says, hey, there's this group of people who they're just jerks. They're stealing everybody. They're trying to take everything from you. You need to sign this edict and kill him. He's like, matter of fact, I'll pay you this amount of money to do it. So it's a hit.
yeah.
And the king says, okay, but keep your money. So guess who the hit's on? All the Jews.
Yeah.
So as it goes, that God doesn't just put circumstances together to put you where you need to be. He's playing the long game way beforehand, putting things together. That
Well, and you're not always the Esther either.
yeah,
You may be the Haggai who's there to, God put you there to give this advice to someone else. Like who saved Billy Graham, or who saved the guy?
Mordecai Ham.
Yeah, and who saved him? And there's a plan, and it all comes together, and you're in that specific time. I think it's important that you don't, miss your opportunity to
Don't
do.
waste.
Yeah, yeah,
Here's a question: at the end of your life, will you have wasted your opportunity?
yeah.
Let's talk about such a time as this. Yep. How many people have missed their this?
Yeah.
We went on a mission trip to Macedonia, which is the northernmost point of Paul's missionary journeys, and it's the former Yugoslavia. And we're up and they're doing excavations of a Colosseum, where they believe Paul did his preaching from at that last trip. And the guy I had with me, Bruce Bliss, great guy. He built every Shoney's in the state of Georgia. Just so,
Nice.
Miss Shoney's.
yeah, he was a contractor. He became big contractor. He was the guy who drew it all up, made it all happen. And he told me, he said, when I was in high school, God called me to be a missionary. And I didn't go. And it's taken me 73 years to get back here, to finally be able to do what God called me to do. And I let him preach a sermon, and I videoed it preaching where Paul preached up there on the top of the Colosseum. And it was so awesome to see him finally get to step into his obedience. But he's going, I wasted so much of my life chasing stuff that didn't matter when this is what God called me to do.
Yeah.
He died not too long after we got back from that, but it was just one of those life-changing moments for him, but also that moment of regret that I missed my moment, but he didn't, because God still used him there. They bring students from Skopje, the capital of Macedonia, down to Bitola, where we built at, to see the architecture of what we did, because we took a 3-story brick apartment building and free floated the entire ground floor with beams we had hand cut to make it. not a single Macedonian would step inside that building when we were taking the walls out, when we had the beams in to finally take all the weight onto the beams. They wouldn't do it.
So y'all moved.
We got all the interior walls were brick,
Yeah.
handmade brick. That was holding all the weight of all the interior walls on the next floors, which are also handmade brick, and the third floor. And we took out all the load-bearing walls and suspended it. So they still bring students to come check out what those crazy Americans did with wood here in Macedonia. And he left a legacy that he got to. So he didn't miss his time, but how much more time could have he used so much better on the front end? Yeah. And I know people say, well, that's who you are and it creates who you are. But I still think I wish I could have come to know Jesus earlier and not run from him for so long, because what more could have I done? And then when it comes to obedience, if I'd have learned to obey earlier, what more could have he done?
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest. I don't even know what as I went through Esther, it just the points started screaming out what the movie was screaming out too. I think the next one was God's working before we ever know there's a need. Before Haman ever gave the edict to Xerxes to sign, God knew it was going to happen. And he was putting everything into place. And when you think about that for us, that God is putting the people into place in our lives and putting us into place in other people's lives for a chess game that's still being played way down the road.
Yeah.
Who would have thought anyone who's ever been president would have been president?
Yeah.
Because I don't know any of them that have ever been qualified.
Yeah.
Same with preachers. Mm-hmm. God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. I have that discussion with almost all my chiefs when they first start is, hey, God didn't bring you here because of what you brought to the table. He brought you here because he wants you to make a difference with your people. And that's determined by whether or not you're going to obey.
Yeah.
He told Joshua, if you want to be blessed in what you do, you follow my word and don't depart to the right or the left, but you meditate on it, you chew on it, you follow me, and you're going to be able to take care of them. If you choose not to follow me, they're going to be out of luck. Because every leader is put into place either for your blessing or your cursing, and they determine it by whether or not they follow him.
Yeah.
I think one of the fun things in the movie, and you don't find out till the end, because they build the story backwards. The movie starts with him not knowing how he's in space.
Spoilers.
Spoiler.
Well, that's the opening scene, so I haven't ruined too much for him yet. But they build it backwards. I'm about to spoil it for him, though.
I probably will throw a nice little spoiler one around the screen right around here.
Okay, I'll let you.
Thanks, Coach.
They start with him not knowing how he got there. But as the story unfolds, he didn't choose to go.
Yeah.
He went kicking and screaming. And I was thinking of Jonah.
Yeah.
Jonah said, I ain't going.
Yeah. Talk about Shanghai.
Matter of fact, Jonah was worse than Shanghai. Jonah said, hey, y'all go to hell. I ain't going to Nineveh. They suck. What did I say, suck?
You just said
Just
hell.
said go to hell. So.
Hell's okay. I'm a preacher. Hell. So the place you're talking about going, that's not a bad thing. I just didn't know
People
how.
suck. So, I mean, I think that you can say that too.
Sorry if I offended somebody.
We suck.
You
suck.
can go.
But for me, when you look at Jonah didn't not just hate them so much he's willing to let them die and go to hell. When it came time to the sea getting rough, he said, kill me. I'd rather die than obey. Because he knew if he obeyed and they turned around, it's probably going to go calm and they can go back, because he knew what he was doing. He was willfully disobedient. And he's so stubborn about it, he said, just toss me over. You guys will be safe. God will stop it. You just kill me. And they said, we can't do such a thing. We'll get your God really mad at us. No, go ahead. Toss me over. I'm not going to tell on you. It's safe. And as soon as they toss him over, whoa, big fish grabs him and he gets the first submarine ride.
God's like, I got you, Coach. He's like, go ahead.
How many days until he repented, though?
Was it 14?
Quiz? No, 3.
3? Oh, I don't know.
He was 3 days in the belly of the great fish.
That's right.
And it wasn't until he repented before God would let him get thrown up out. But he was still mad. He was still pitching a fit, still feeling sorry for himself, and not caring about them. And I think that's where so many people miss out on what God wants for them because of either our stubbornness, our fear. That was Grace's problem. It was fear. If I go up there, I might die. They said, if you stay here, you're going to die. Yeah, but not for 30 years.
No, it wasn't might die. It was a one-way trip.
Yeah. You will die.
They said that at the beginning.
Well, yeah, it was very clear, and and it's cool because like a lot of the movie cuts out a lot of the book, and it's interesting.
There's a book?
Yeah. Same title.
Has it got Audible?
Yes,
Did you?
but I actually read that one because that was a book I wanted to read. But it's from the same author of The Martian. Like,
I read by hearing.
Yeah, every other book's Audible, but that one I was like, I kind of want to read this one. It was a short read, anyways, but it was just interesting to see him going through that, like those phases of like, I don't want to do this. It's the same like Jonah. It wasn't just that single like, no, it was him going to jail and then him like having time to talk about things and think about things, and so it wasn't just that single scene of the movie. There was a period of time, and then him being put in a prison cell and her coming trying again, and him like, nah, coach, and then the running and the tackling and the
roofie.
Yeah. So it's cool because that does really match up beautifully of that like consistent, but you are the person who's good. Well, you're going to die. Well, we're going to die either way. Well, I'm like, well, you're going to starve if you stay here. So like you might get nuked. So it was, that's actually really good.
So do you think God has a plan B? Because if you miss your calling, I think he puts you there to accomplish this, and he says, I'm going to accomplish this, and he wants it done, I assume he's going to get it done.
So I've been toying through all the years about God's will, and we know there's God's perfect will.
Yeah.
God's perfect will is going to be done, period. He's accomplishing it. But I think there's also a permissive will where he gives us some choice. Hey, 2 great job choices.
Yeah.
I don't care which way you go. It's going to be good for you either way. Have fun. I think there's a punitive will that when you choose to disobey, he said, I wanted to take you this way, but you made it to where I can't. We can still get where we're going, but this new road's a lot rougher. This new road's going to have some scars or leave some scars. And I think that what does God do at that time? Does he bring somebody else along the way? Well, you look back to Barak in the Old Testament. When he was supposed to go and kill the king, he didn't, so God had to use Deborah. She was plan B. If he had been obedient, she wouldn't have had to step up and do his job. That's why she was one of the judges. And I think...
Jonah could have gone without the whale.
Yeah. He didn't have to experience what it felt like to be in the stomach acid of a whale.
Yeah.
Which I do think, though, if you look at how God works, can you imagine him being thrown up on the shore, covered in seaweed and bleached white from the whale bile? That drew a crowd.
I was like, I'm going to use you. I'm going to use you good one way or the other. Like,
yeah.
That's why he says, I'll work out all things for the good of those who love me.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean he causes all things. And I think often we miss the blessing, like Moses. When Moses decided to take it upon himself to do God's will and kill the guard, he had to be on the run for 40 years and hiding in the desert before God could ever use him again because he wasn't willing to trust God's timing. He did it in his own timing. Jonah wasn't willing to trust God's plan. He wanted to do it in his own plan. And God said, if you guys will just listen, I can get this done a whole lot quicker. But what God told Esther, or what Mordecai told Esther, because she said, somebody else can do this. If I go before the king and he doesn't hold out his scepter towards me, I'm killed.
Yeah.
And Mordecai, I can't remember what verse it was. All right, chapter 4, verse 13. Let's see if 12 takes us. Go back to 11. Start at 11. Or go to 10.
Go
4:10. And just know that Hathach is not hatchback.
Hathach.
He's her eunuch that's talking for her back and forth, sending notes.
Because she can't leave the harem.
Right.
Esther spoke to Hathach and commanded him to tell Mordecai, All the royal officials and the people of the royal provinces know that one law applies to every man or woman who approaches the king in the inner courtyard and who has not been summoned, the death penalty. Unless the king extends the gold scepter, allowing that person to live, I have not been summoned to appear before the king for the last 30 days. Esther's response was reported to Mordecai. Mordecai told the messenger to reply to Esther, "Don't think that you will escape the fate of all the Jews because you are in the king's palace. If you keep silent at this time, relief and deliverance will come to the Jewish people from another place.
There you go.
But you and your father's family will be destroyed. Who knows? Perhaps you have come to your royal position for such a time as this."
For if you remain silent at this time,
Yeah.
deliverance and relief will arise for the Jews from another place, and you're going to miss it.
We'll be saved. You won't.
So I think when that whole question of does God have a plan B? Yes, but God knows when he's going to use the plan B already. I think of Jesus with his 12. When he chose Judas Iscariot, he knew what he was going to do, but God kept giving him chances and chances not to. But he knew he was going to do it, but he still wanted and give him an opportunity not to and try to convince him. That's why Jesus kept loving on him when he would say, hey, the one who's about to dip their hand. But if you remember at that moment, it says when Satan entered him, and then it was game, set, match, the changing wasn't happening. But it was Jesus caring enough to give him another chance.
That'd be a wild ride for Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Judas, how are you doing? My name's Jesus. You want to hang out with us? This things are going to happen. And Judas is like, sure. And then Jesus is like, oh, damn, let us begin.
Or is Jesus coming from the standpoint of, dude, I love you.
Yeah.
You don't have to do this.
Well, no matter what, that like for me, I see Jesus meeting this guy knowing what the path is going to become.
Yeah.
And that's why he still welcomes Judas to the party. He knows the path forwards, but he still goes, again, listening to God and the difference between what Jesus did and that mirror of what we're supposed to be versus what Jonah did, what Moses did, all these other guys did of like, no, I think I'm going to take that, the longer path. I'm going to skip Samaria and go around.
Yeah.
Jesus was like, no, I'm going right to the thing that's going to set up my death. I'm going to love the mess out of him the whole time. That's cool.
And I think God lets these circumstances happen. Or I'm not going to blame them all on God. A lot of it's just sinful people.
God's will is like a sit down late at night conversation.
Yeah. When God sees what's happening, he'll let these circumstances come into your life because it gives us a chance to step up. I guarantee you, Esther's faith on the other side was a lot stronger than on the front side.
Yeah.
Same with the disciples. That when they obeyed, it strengthened your faith. When you see him do those great things, it strengthens your faith. Jonah, his faith didn't get strengthened. He's the only one that you ever see the great acts of God who still pitches a fit when he's done. He preaches, all of them to get saved, and he says, see, God, I told you. I knew if I came and talked to him, you just saved them all because you're too kind and got too much grace. I want them all dead. And then he sat up on top of the mountain waiting. Hey, we got time. You can still kill them. Hoping they would die. So God let that plant grow up and give him shade. And then God sent a worm to eat it because I think God has a great sense of humor. And he said, now you're all mad because of this? Because this little plant died and you're not worried about all these 500,000 people who you want to perish? Aren't they not more important to me than this plant? And Mordecai is a great picture of the opposite of that. He's telling her, listen, you need to know God's going to deliver us. But it could be that you're the very person he put in place to make this thing work.
Walk in faith.
You're the piece. And I think just like Esther, though, there's so many times in our life we don't feel worthy. We don't feel capable. We don't feel holy enough. And God says, listen, I have to use imperfect people because there's no other choice. I have to use people who are messed up because that's all that I have to work with. I need to use you. I just need you to be available. I need you to be willing. I need you to trust me enough to know that I've got a better plan than you've got.
Yeah, and often it's not nearly as life and death as it is for Esther. Like, she's like, if I die, I die. Or we're like, I don't really want to talk to that guy. I'd rather get a coffee.
Yeah.
But can I tell you, that can be life and death too.
A different way, but yes.
Well, when we talked about did we talk about in here the jumper off the Golden Gate Bridge?
I don't know.
10 people have jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge and lived.
Yes, we did talk about this.
Remember that one?
Yeah.
If those people had taken the opportunity to talk to that guy instead of just say, take our picture,
Yeah.
he wouldn't have jumped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many people do we not have time for as God's putting appointments before us and opportunities before us that we're too busy or we're too self-centered or we got too much fear that we don't obey, and they die for it?
Well, that's I began thinking about the ping pong thing.
Yeah.
That's for us. It's God's saying that it's the same thing. I'm praying for these people. I'm talking to these people. I'm telling them about Jesus. God's like, I'll use you to save these people, and you get to relish in that blessing with me, or I'll find someone else. We'll make it happen, but you're not going to be a part of it. And that's like, do I want to get excluded from every bit of that? No, I really don't. I mean, I mess it up all the time, but I don't want to. I've got to do better. But I don't know, that's a big eye opener of that single bit of line of do it or don't. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Are you going to be in the court?
I think when Paul said, don't get disqualified from the prize, don't run your race in vain. Follow the rules, follow the course. Trust me in it. Trust God to have the path laid out before you, but don't sabotage yourself.
Yeah.
The guy who led me to Christ was a pastor. I was actually in California at a rock concert. He was from Birmingham, Alabama. And he came, preached a rock concert. I got saved. Later in my life, he came back again, and God really moved me and called me to ministry and just started moving in my life a whole lot there. And it comes out years later that he's been diddling his babysitters.
Say that.
Is that bad?
It's fine.
Abusing.
Okay.
He's been abusing his babysitters.
That way I can.
Yeah.
I'll fix the clip. This is good.
He's been abusing his babysitters, covering it up, getting officials to cover it up.
Hold on, the guy that led you to.
Yes.
We're all
And-
people.
And then I had another guy pour into my life a whole lot. He turned out to be a dirtbag. So I went back to my pastor and I said, hey, is it something wrong with me? But every person who's had these major impacts in my life turned out to be dirtbags while they were having the impact. What does that say for my salvation? What does that say for my calling, my life? And he gave me the greatest advice ever. He said, God doesn't honor the man. He honors his word. And you're saved by the word of God, not by that dirtbag who told it to you.
Yeah. I mean, not to compare those people to David, but if people can mess up,
Let's
and
be
at the same
serious.
time,
It's a great comparison. Dude had someone murdered so he can get the dude's wife. Like,
Yeah.
like, I mean, it's a spot on comparison because God is after His will, not like He loves us. His goal is to see His will be done. And again, you can be a part of it or not part of it, for better or for worse. Like,
And you want to say, why doesn't God kill these people? And then you say, okay, I know why.
I don't want to get killed.
Because if we're talking sin is sin,
Yeah.
yeah.
there's different consequences and different realities as what sin has happened on earth, but the eternal consequences are all the same.
Yeah, that's not a question I really want to ask. Why doesn't just God kill the sinners?
Yeah.
Wait.
Well, that's like people say, well, why does God allow this? Why didn't he just take their freedom? Because then he has to take yours.
Well, yeah, that's one of those, like, that's, for me, that's such an easy question. God's not in it to play video games. He's not looking to be NPC emulator. He doesn't want a bunch of bots. He wants people to choose him because of what he has in store for us. not a bunch of like, oh, they're a bunch of lemons doing all the things that I wanted them to do. Like, no, what kind of fatherhood is that?
And I think it's awesome too when he gives us a path, when he guides us, it's not for his sake.
Yeah.
It's for ours. Even the stuff he tells us not to do. I used to think that God was this big cosmic killjoy, he just didn't want us to have any fun, until I realized that all the stuff we thought was fun was killing us. He's like, you're drinking poison. Why am I going to let you keep doing that? I'm going to try and tell you, no, it's killing you. If you choose to, it's still going to be on you. But I'm going to warn you. I'm going to guide you. I'm going to give you something better. I've got great stuff over here for you. Quit doing this. It's going to kill you. But people still choose.
We are lemmings. Darn it. Ooh, a cliff.
So for such a time as this, I love the word time as well. Mm-hmm. Can you trust God in his timing for you? Can you trust him that you were born at the right time? I hear people all the time, I'm born in the wrong century. No, you're not. You're born right exactly when you're supposed to. Well, it seemed life was so much better back then. They didn't have flushing toilets.
They didn't have air conditioning. I'm sorry,
No,
Coach. Like I think a lot. I think a lot about how cool it would be to see things like that.
Running water.
Yeah. They couldn't bathe.
Dysentery.
Deodorant.
Yeah.
Itchy clothes.
The list can go on. I'm glad we're the season we're in.
Yeah. Brisket.
Yeah.
I mean, that's been around.
Pork belly. Can you imagine if we had been Jewish? We never would have discovered pork belly. Back to time.
I always have to edit Brandon.
I've heard people say, I'm not going to bring a child into this world because it's so horrible.
Yeah.
Do you think that people in Esther's time had the same issue? We're in captivity, horrible life.
I mean, how many times in these biblical times where they're killing like all the firstborn or
even Moses' mom? God said, I'm still in control of your time and your kids' time. And if I choose to have them born, it's because they're in the right time.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid. Trust me. I'm going to take care of them. You're going to have to do your due diligence and raise them right and try and grow them up to come to know me. You do your part. I'm going to do my part. I'm going to take care of them. Then you think about those kids who get born into horrible situations, and why does God allow that to happen? And if you ever get to meet some of them that have been through some of that, I know several who've leveraged it and say, you know what, they tried to kill me.
Yeah.
They tried to destroy me, but I'm stronger. I was talking to a woman not too long ago who'd been through a ton of that stuff, and I said, do you realize how amazing your story is? One, that God saved you through all this. Two, for the amount of people you can relate to give hope that there is another side, that you can make it through, that you can have a functioning life. You don't have to be damaged forever. You don't have to be a victim. You can be a survivor. You still got junk to go through because it's part of it, all dealing with it. It's not saying you didn't go through a hard time. You're not going to still deal with a hard time.
Well, that's God's favor does not mean you're not going to go through things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at Paul.
Yeah. Look at David. The 23rd Psalm, even though you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, he said through, not around.
Yeah.
We want to pray out of the valley instead of through the valley.
Yeah. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Yeah.
Daniel.
A lot of the dudes in this book.
Pretty much most of them.
Their stories aren't all fuzzy and warm.
Yeah. Moses.
But what you do find is that they stayed faithful.
Yeah.
And that too often, while some of the stuff was bad, they were rewarded in many different ways by God. That God opened doors that honestly just blew my mind that even got cracked open, but now the door got blown off the hinges on a regular basis. And you're like, wow, like that looks bad, but man, God did some really cool stuff. And while amazing things may not have happened for the guy, the people that were saved, the people that were positively affected, that walked away like on fire for God, like that's cool. Like, yeah, that sucked for that dude.
Yeah.
But they were happy the whole time.
Yeah. I really like this quote, and I don't know who it's from, but it says, faith is not believing everything will work out. Faith is obeying when it might not.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I'd take the quote.
Yeah. I just came up with that.
And I put it on your phone.
Yeah.
You got hacked.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think with trusting God with time and our kids and everything else, God is in control of who's around you. God put you two together eons ago. You've been running buddies forever.
I mean, I don't know if I'd go eons.
Well, you're getting gray.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I should have worn my hat.
But your beard's way less gray than mine.
Yeah.
I can make you feel good.
Yeah.
But with God,
It's the white balance on the camera.
that's what it is.
Sorry, I'll fix that in post.
God brings people into your life so you're not alone. And I love the movie because it happened in the movie like crazy. And in the movie, first one he brought him was the CIA guy who it was his security.
Yeah.
But turned out to be his buddy who helped him figure out what everything was happening, how to fix it. And then he brought the commander lady who helped him get through what he needed through. Then he brought an alien. He didn't want to play with an alien, but God knew he needed, well, in the movie, God knew he needed the alien to survive. And with Esther, you see the very same thing. God gave her Mordecai when her family died. He didn't leave her alone.
Yeah.
I know the plans I have for you, and I'm going to prosper you, not harm you. And even though this horrible thing has happened in your life, I'm putting other people in your life to make up the difference. And one of the things that I get from a lot of moms when they're dying, and they'll have everybody leave the room in the hospital, and they say, "Can I talk to you for a minute?" And I'll say, "Yeah." And they'll say, "I don't want to go. I'm afraid what's going to happen to all them if I do." And I tell every one of them the same thing, that the same one who's always taken care of them still will. And it's not been you. Yeah. It's been God. God chose to use you for this season. He's going to bring somebody else for the next season because he cares for them even more than you care for them. He wants to love them even more than you want to love them. And God puts people in our life for Esther. He said, gave her Mordecai, then gave her Haggai, then gave her Hatchback, Hathatch, whatever his name is. Gave her Xerxes. God was putting things together and taking care of her and looking out for her. And when we realize that God's put the people in our life to be our crew, there's not a better word for it. It's the ones who God, we're all rowing together in the same boat. I think it's what churches are for, to be a body, that he puts us together so we can accomplish more together than we ever could alone. When Solomon wrote Ecclesiastes, and he talked about the guy farming, and he says that two's better than one because they get a better return for their labor.
One is the loneliest number.
Two, if they get cold, can lie down and keep warm. But in a strand of three is not easily broken.
Yeah.
That we need people in our life, and God has put the people in our life. We just got to keep our eyes open for it and realize that God may be bringing new people in your life as well. Maybe the job that you're sitting at and you hate all the people in your office around you is because you don't realize they're part of your crew. And you made it to work on that relationship or work on you or say, all right, God, how are you going to use this crazy bunch of yahoos I'm with to work out your will in my life? But he still has a plan. So what Esther does, Esther tells Mordecai, hey, I'm going to go take my life in my hands. You get everybody praying. So he does. And all the Jewish nations praying for her. And she goes, I love it, puts the scepter, come on. And Haman's there too, because he's his right-hand man now. And he says, tell me what you want. Up to half the kingdom, it's yours. He loved her. And she said, let me come make a feast for you. You guys come to it. Okay. They show up at the feast. All right, now tell me what it was. Well, if you really want to know, let me make another feast tomorrow, and you come back to it. Okay.
Really buttering him up.
Then finally, he comes back the next day. Tell me, what is it? Well, someone is trying to kill me. And here's what's happened. He says, who? She says, that dirtbag Haman right there. He got this order to kill me and all my people. And King steps outside for a minute, and Haman, just like an idiot, goes running to her and grabs her. And I don't remember if he fell on her or not, But King walks back in just as he's grabbing his wife, going, "You're going to molest her in my presence?" Yeah. And Haman, and this didn't make the sermon. My favorite, that's why I told everybody, here's the best part of the story you got to read on your own.
Yeah.
Haman had made a gallows for Mordecai 50 feet high.
Big, gaudy, wanted to show off.
Mm-hmm.
I never knew what a gallows was because I'm thinking Old West. Hanging them.
That's what I thought.
No. Gallows form of torture in the Medo-Persian Empire was they would take a rod and sharpen it to a point.
This is a graphic warning.
Sharpen it to a point, and they would snug it up on your tiptoes, and they would let your gravity slowly impale you.
I've heard that.
He had a 50-foot high
spear in his backyard.
And so King, I don't know what was the other guy said, hey, he just set up this thing to kill Mordecai, who you realize saved you the other day. Another one of those coincidences that usually doesn't happen. He said, all right, put him on it. And he gave everything he owned to Mordecai and Esther. So they won.
Oh, it was 75 feet.
75 feet.
Why did I just like Haman was so in his own Kool-Aid. Like everything about what he did, and I love whenever Xerxes was like, if I wanted to honor somebody, what would you do? And he's like, oh, well, I would do all these absolutely amazing things. He's like, perfect. That guy Mordecai, could you go hook him up? And I imagine Haman being just like walking, just like muling like an absolute 3-year-old, just mad.
Can you imagine Mordecai?
Mordecai had to be rolling. But then
Haman, I dropped my cigarette.
Yeah. And then Haman's whole family was like, let's make this huge gallows and we'll get Mordecai. Like his family is the one who put like the people, again, it's all about the people you're surrounding yourself with. And they egged him into this whole thing of let me build this huge gallows so we can.
Was it 75 foot tall so they all would fit?
I mean, preparations.
It's like a big barbecue skewer.
Gosh. Oh, no.
But that's not good.
Well,
move on.
Yeah.
But yeah, that whole thing was really, it was just really shocking how that all played out, of a family pushing this political guy to just go to the farthest extremes, to see how much, oh, cool, we have favor, let's push it as hard as we can, and it all just backfiring out of.
Do you know why he hated him?
Well, he hated because he had, I know at the beginning, he was walking into the front gate and he was having everyone kowtow to him, and Mordecai was continued praying or fasting, meditating at the gate.
It's in his name. Haman the Agagite.
That's where I got it.
Agag.
Yeah.
Every time you
Agag.
said it, I was thinking.
Agag was the king of the Amalekites who, instead of killing him, they just cut off his thumbs so he couldn't hold a sword. And the prophet, was it Samuel? It could have been Samuel. One of the prophets who hacked Agag to pieces. Maybe it was Joshua. No. Who was it? Maybe it was one of the judges. Could have been Samuel, early days. Who killed Agag? That's your question.
Samuel.
When he found that he didn't kill him, he's like, God told you to do this, and you're not obeying. God told you to do it for a reason. Haman's the reason. He didn't kill all of those Amalekites. This one stayed and hated the Jews ever since, and is going to finally get his revenge for his people.
Yeah.
And that's part of it. But the best part of Esther's story, she's safe now. But she takes her life in her hands again. She says, keep the people praying. And she goes back a second time to the king. Even though she's safe now, her people aren't. And he puts out his staff to her, and half the king, she's like, my people are still going to die. Will you please take care of them? He said, I can't take it back. And Mordecai now has Haman's job, so he's in the room getting to finally chill out with Esther too. And they write a new edict that all the Jews are allowed to defend themselves on this day and take whatever you've got. And that changes everybody's world, because now everyone knows Esther's a Jewess, and they know that this king edict just came down. We thought, oh, great, we got to kill them all. Nobody can mess with us. Now the king's saying they get to kill you back.
So the first edict stayed of we kill Jews. And then the
Yes.
second edict came out, but they can fight back and I'm not going to get
Yes.
mad at them. Like, he gave them a purge.
Well, and
It just did the polar opposite. So,
purge is almost the word because it becomes the Jewish feast of Purim.
Oh, no. Yeah. As you read through this, they go absolutely bananas on some people.
They go purge.
Yeah. They go ham and on them.
That's why I love the story, because you see that in the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Another spoiler spot on here, when he can make it home, but he realizes that Rocky can't.
well, it's a great redemption arc. I mean, he decides like he's not going to die for the entire humanity, but he's willing to go die to save Rocky.
Save the one. Oh, that's huge. I should have preached that. That'd have been a great sermon.
You ran these things by me.
I know. It's just that beautiful picture of redemption.
Yeah.
That I'm willing to give up what I want for somebody else. I want to go. He still sends the stuff home, so they're all going to live. But he says, I'm willing to not ever go home again.
Yeah.
And chance dying to save him. So yeah, it's just a great picture of what Esther did. That's why at the movies I love, because all the movies do is give a great picture of what God already wrote. Lord of the Rings, all in the book.
I mean,
That
was the
Star
design.
Wars, all in the book. Every
God's-
hero movie,
God's baked into it all, no matter how you want to
every
run
bit
from
of
it.
it. So that's why I loved it. We might have to eventually catch up and go live, just because I've got so many movies in my head now, from ones I'm prepping going ahead and ones that because we're a week behind. One from this week, I wanted to share so much. The ones for this next week that they haven't even got to hear preached yet. I'm going, that's so good. I'm just pumped about because God's given me movies I never even saw or thought of.
Yeah.
And finding them, I'm just in shock and awe of just God's story and how he's doing it. My favorite movie of all time is Life is Beautiful. Phenomenal movie. It's a story of love of a father for his son. It's set in World War II Germany or Poland.
Is that the John Candy?
No, not that's Stripes. No, it's all in Italian. You have to read subtitles for the whole movie.
I'm out.
If you ever start to watch it, you won't be out. You'll
Do
be
they have
in.
it on Audible?
No. But anyway, back to my story. It's a father who the
Spoilers.
Germans come and take over, and
If you're Italian.
Our poor deaf people not knowing what just happened. You didn't see that the other day? Somebody started lip syncing and they totally messed with everybody with the subtitles. Yeah, I don't remember who it was. It's news. Anyway.
I thought we were talking about at church or something. I was like,
No, it was a news thing. Anyway.
Pop culture reference.
Yeah, I was trying to be relevant. Anyway, this dad's got a 4 or 5 year old little boy, and they get taken to concentration camps. Mom gets separated, she gets killed, and the dad has to hide him because they're taking and killing all the children.
Yeah.
And he convinces him, because he's a good dad. He's a comedian, actually. The guy is, and the guy who's playing him is a comedian too. And he convinces his son that it's a game. It's a game that if you can hide from these men, they're really just pretending. They don't really hate you. They just yell a whole lot, because that's their role they have to play. And they're trying to get you to find you, because they can find you, you don't win. But if you can make it all the way to the end of the game and be the last kid that no one finds, you'll win a tank. And the most beautiful story of love, of what a father does for a son, as he's going through all the torture of the concentration camp, loving his son to shield him from it.
yeah.
Deep, deep, deep movie. But that used to be my favorite movie. Doing the stuff for these, I just found another one that I'm going to be preaching on the 28th. So we'll be hitting it a week or so after. I wanted to cancel my sermon and just let us all watch the movie and then give an invitation.
It's the longest yard.
John Candy's not in it either.
The Burt Reynolds or Adam Sandler version?
And there, of course.
But so I love the series. I love what's going on. I love the chance to share his story through culture.
Yeah. And if you want to know what that movie is, tune in the week after the 28th.
There you go. Or watch live on the 28th,
Even better.
10 o'clock Eastern on our
Facebook
YouTube channel.
or YouTube.
So that's all I got. You guys got anything else?
Nope. Good to go.
That'll work. Bye, y'all. I want pork belly.
You can always go for that. Brandon had some today.
Oh.
And he didn't bring it.